this page, Command 0, puts the image in the whole screen so you can see it. In the Layers panel, I have this, I copied it, but this is what you have, the art and the image behind it. So this was the one that you initially made your graphic over, but here's one you can use. So all I did before I started was just drag this into the piece to make a copy of it, and that's what this copy is on the top. So I always like to work on a copy in case you come back and need it. It's sitting there waiting for you. So what happens is in Live Paint, when you try to, these are all shapes that Live Paint works on, but these are all lines, okay? So you're trying to see if you can change this into a paintable image, and Live Paint is the way to do it. I make a selection box around the entire shape, and just go to Object, and you go down to Live Paint and Make. There's a section called Gap Options, which I'll show you real quickly. If there's a space between any of the lines, you can highlight this and go to large, small, or medium, or set your custom gaps to that in the distance. I'll just cancel that. Because right here I have this little space right here, so that's going to be covered. So what happens is you go to Object, Live Paint, and Make, and what happens is it's going to say any of these complex appearances are going to disappear. So when I hit OK, all the thin and thick strokes that I made are gone, so it's kind of a waste. But I don't want that to happen, so I undo it. And while it's still selected, I just go to Object and Expand Appearances. And what that does is the appearance is the image, and it's just going to break it apart to where it's now editable shapes. So when you zoom in, you can see the little red line right around that section. So now when I go to Object, Live Paint, and Make, it'll give me this image is now editable for Live Paint. Well, the tool for this is hidden under the Shape Builder, so Live Paint is the tool, and you get this icon that shows a left and right swatch on your swatches panel. So when you go to the swatches, say I pick yellow, it's going to have green on the left and on the right and red on the left. So here's the color. So I can just kind of zoom into this, and it clicks, and you'll see that there's a red gap detection that it's showing that shape. So it's kind of a tricky thing. It's the line art equivalent of illustrating in Photoshop combinations. So here I'm just going to go and click on these. Now you have to be careful because the stroke or the line that you made is now a shape that can be colored. So if I click on this, that turns into a color. So you just have to keep your wits about you, and you can go through this, change the color. Again, you can double click on the foreground color to get a darker value of this. Here's the color choice. So the color picker still operates right through that piece, so you can see that part. So for example, when I take a look at these little sponge characters, those are actually color all the way to the edge, so you can actually click on the color, or you can double click. I'll get just a little darker color green and change the black to that green, just to give it a little bit of depth. And you can use the eyedropper too to grab the colors as well. But that gives you this selection, and I can click and drag will do it as well. So here's the same color onto that, or I can get a lighter value. And that gives me that piece to work with. So you can kind of get an idea of how this is placed in there. And again, if you know the colors by heart by now, gives you a little bit of a look to it. But this is the Live Paint characteristic of Illustrator. And I'm trying to give everything a tone at least, even the parts that appear white, you give them a little bit of a tone of gray, because that can be changed and used into that. So even though it's a flat color. So it just has a little triangle shape that shows that selection. And it gives you that piece. Again, you can double click on the colors. Here's the color palette. Use saturation and brightness, CMYK, RGB, and the index color for that, for the computer. And I come in here and give them some color in the shoe. It's just kind of doing a quick fill in just to get some of the colors all around there. and zoom in so you can see the shapes. You can kind of see the outline of what's happening there, placed in that section. And again, like I said, I'm just going to make sure that it has a little bit of a highlight color in each of the shapes. That'll guarantee. So say you want a blue, you can just double click the color picker to get a lighter blue. You can go inside here to do that. Highlights for the eyes. And like I said, this is just giving you the kind of an intro into live paint. For a basic color without any shading, that's the kind of the image that you're headed to.